Hello, students. Welcome to Strategic Branding and Social Media. My name is Dr. Paula Powell, and I will be your instructor for the course. In this course, we will talk about strategic communication. We'll define what that is. We'll look at the difference between public relations and marketing. We'll talk extensively about branding. And of course, we look at the role of social media where branding and strategic communication is concerned. As you go through the modules, you'll recognize that many of your assignments are hands-on. It is my hope that you will enjoy the assignments and you'll learn something by completing them. Now, before you proceed to your assignments, it's also important to understand those key concepts related to this course. Now, one of the major concepts that you'll see come up as we talk more and more about social media and branding is strategic communication, right? So it's important to understand that strategic communication requires a master plan. That's the only way you're going to be strategic. It is far more than drafting and distributing press releases. It's an orchestrated use of the channels of communication to promote the organization's agenda. Now, according to Hallahan, it involves an organization communicating in a purposeful way to achieve its mission. Now, one must understand that tied to the vision and mission of any organization are business goals. And in our case, since we're in the business of communication, we'll have communication specific goals as well. Now, one interesting definition of strategic communication was posited by Shana Englin, and she states that being strategic means communicating the best message through the right channels, measured against well-considered organizational and communication specific goals. Now, essentially, she says it's the difference between doing communication stuff and doing the right communication stuff. So again, this is communication that is purposeful and it requires a master plan. Another definition suggests that strategic communication is about infusing those communications efforts with an agenda. Now, the agenda typically involves one, promoting the brand of an organization. So essentially, you're increasing brand awareness, which will ultimately increase the bottom line. Two, urging people to do specific action. So you're calling people to action, whether to purchase your product. And three, it might be in advocating for legislation. So now that we have a good understanding of what strategic communication is, let us now turn our attentions to public relations and marketing. Now, these are two different disciplines, and it's important to understand both when doing or talking strategic communication. Now, public relations, right, is concerned with the organization's relationship and reputation with many groups. And as a result, all channels are used to communicate with the public. So whether it is advertising, speeches, press releases, etc. Marketing, on the other hand, will use actions to promote or sell goods and services. So essentially, marketers are concerned with revenue, they're concerned with sales. They use high quality messaging to attract their audiences, and the goal ultimately is to increase the consumer's interest in products and services. To reiterate, marketers are concerned with sales and revenue, and public relations practitioners are concerned with the reputation and the image of an organization or a brand. What exactly is a brand? So according to David Ogilvy, a brand is the intangible sum of a product's attributes, right? So your brand entails anything from the logo to the marketing to the advertising, the overall identity of the brand or the value assigned to a brand. So essentially, it's the perception that you may have or the public might have of a brand. Now, as communications practitioners, social media, and branding professionals, your goal will obviously be to create a strong and positive perception of any company that you'll work for and the products and the services associated with that company. The proliferation of social media has really impacted how we do branding today. But in order to do social media the right way, it's important to understand why people are using social media. So, the list here is not an exhaustive list, but just to give you a few of the reasons, people use social media to make connections, to share information, to find romance or dating partners, to connect with people with shared hobbies and interests, to share their opinions, or even to research products to buy and sell. Now that we know why people are using social media, let's talk about who uses social media. According to the Pew Research Center, as of 2021, 7 in 10 Americans use social media. 81% of Americans are using YouTube, 69% are on Facebook, 40% of adults use Instagram, and 3 in 10 Americans use Pinterest or LinkedIn. Now, according to the Research Center, 1/4 of Americans use Snapchat, Twitter, and WhatsApp, and 21% of Americans are on TikTok. You might be wondering, why is social media important for a brand? Social media is important for any brand because it allows for connections between the brand and its consumers. It also forces the brand to listen to consumers, and it humanizes the brand. In looking at that humanizing element, 64% of consumers want brands to connect with them. 70% of consumers also say they feel more connected to brands with CEOs that are active on social media. Now, why connect your brand on social media? One, it breeds loyalty. Two, it increases the bottom line, which is tied to those business goals that I mentioned earlier in this presentation. And three, people want brands to connect them to other people as well. When social media is done the right way, or consumers will evolve. So they'll move through exposure. We'll expose them to the content in social media. We hope for conversion where they'll become customers, they'll purchase your product, they'll try your product, and then they'll be able to endorse the product. And after using your products and receiving good customer service and connecting with the brand in social media, they'll become evangelists for your brand. The bottom line is you must be strategic when doing social media. As stated earlier in this presentation, it requires a master plan. Tied to that master plan are your business goals and your communication goals. It also requires an agenda, right? What do you hope to achieve, right? How will you achieve that? Who do you hope to benefit from the achievement? At the end of the day, we must think and we must understand that social media can in fact enhance your brand, but only if it is done the right way.